Hello everyone, how are you doing today? My name is Carolina Chavez and I am broadcasting live from Miami. Today is Wednesday, August the 5th of 2020. Okay, so today we're gonna discuss a couple of tools that some small brands are using in their operations. These tools are what make a brand sustainable or responsible. But these tools are now being implemented into other bigger brands and also smaller, but the bigger brands that their operation would not be sustainable necessarily, but because of the pandemic, they've been forced because, the situation requires. There's a few interviews that I've done in the past few weeks where my colleagues and I have shared that repeatedly about these sustainable practices that obviously are essential to their operation because that's why they are responsible brands. And these practices vary in forms and shapes, but the interesting part is that some brands are adopting these options now. You know, we've been speaking about sustainable fashion for a while, a long while, but now during the pandemic, at the very beginning, it was said that many brands would put a stop or a pause on their projects to become more sustainable because sustainability can be expensive. To change an operation in a big company can be very expensive, but since some events have happened during this crisis. For example, stores closed all over the place, the supply chain being so complex, and things like that. Well, in some cases, there's not really an option but to adopt some of these practices. So, for example, the supply chain, it is very complex, and it gets more complex as the size of a company grows, right? It is estimated that a supply chain of a big company can be around 100, pieces, 100 steps into the entire supply chain, from the farmer to the consumer to the end life of a product, and in between, designers, photographers, garment workers, fashion magazines, and everybody involved. So it's really complex. So the process of distribution and production of these goods can be extremely costly, both financially and for the environment. So as the pandemic goes, as we navigate these waves of the pandemic, some of these aspects have been practically pushed into some operations because the way they were doing business is not affordable anymore. Some of these practices are to digitize, to go zero waste, to collaborate, reuse, recycle, and resell. These are not the only ones, but I'm gonna dig a little bit deeper on each and every one to see what it means. So going digital, we would think that every company has a very big structure, to sell online and to distribute their goods via online, but this is not the way. Many companies rely on having the stores open all over the place. Imagine all the stores that have businesses in airports, right? The traffic of people generate a lot of income, a lot of business, and without that, well, that's a huge thing that that it has to be taken into consideration. So many companies have had to change or make their digital component much smarter and stronger and productive, right? So a couple of weeks ago, I published an interview with the co-founder of Ethically. Ethically, it's a marketplace. A marketplace, as opposed to a store, means that they sell from many brands. They don't sell their brands, but from many other brands. So Amin was telling us that they are developing in their website, in their platform, a system that you as a consumer can go, digitally and practically see what's in the store right there, and also the product and the place digitally, no matter where you are. So these types of going digital are making a big wave right now, because for some businesses that's the only way they can keep selling, probably not as much as they would with all the stores open, but this is, they have been pushed. At the very beginning of the pandemic, I spoke to someone, I don't remember the brand, but they didn't have the structure at all. And this is a big company with stores all over. They didn't have the structure strong enough to sell online. Imagine. So this is one of the things that the companies are putting more attention at. Obviously, this is restricted by limited resources and cash flow. So smaller brands are more well positioned to experiment and to be move in a more agile way than bigger players, but still the big players have to shift their stores that they don't even sell online. Like big luxury brands, they don't even sell online. So you can imagine that little problem over there. Also, another option that's been explored is the customization tool in a website to help bolster the made to order, right? So instead of you going to the store and choose from a wide variety of sizes and colors and everything, practically you go through a tool on their websites, and they help you customize whatever you're gonna buy. So I think this is really interesting. The London-based designer Christopher Reborn says that making billions of garments every year, putting them in static places around the world, in the case the right person comes in and you've got her or his size, color preference in that place, the level of risk for this is phenomenal, and now we're seeing why the risk is very big. This is, he commented for the Business of Fashion magazine. And also the creative director of Silver, Pedro Lorenzo, says he's pivoting his brand in a less wasteful direction. For Silver's Spring-Summer 2021 collection, buyers will receive a book of hyper-realistic illustrations and swatches rather than physical samples. Fabrics will be ordered only after receiving wholesale orders and factoring in direct-to-consumer demand to reduce waste. So you see, and we are going to talk about it for a few more minutes, but there's various things that are making the chain more responsible, more sustainable, and brands have to. Right now it's not anymore an option of becoming responsible or sustainable. It has to be done because of the circumstances that the whole world is going through. Another challenge that many companies are facing is the excess inventory. So the solution is how to work with that inventory, right? The pace at which we have been accustomed of having a new season practically every week has now brought to light, in times of the pandemic, the exorbitant amount of inventory that by the same circumstances has lagged behind. Imagine if you are used to have new clothes every week in 200, 300, 700 stores around the world. Now it's not happening, period. So all of these clothes, and we're not talking about inventories of 100 or 200 pieces, we're talking about thousands of pieces that are just being stored. And what happens is that if these clothes are not sold, they will be, in some cases, but unfortunately not the majority of the clothes, will be donated or incinerated. One of the things also that companies are doing is that they're partnering with resale markets like ThredUp, where we talked about it last week, to resell their clothes. If you go to and ThredUp is not the only one, it's just the one that comes to my mind first. They have a huge amount of brands, and sometimes you will find new clothes, okay, just at very much lower prices than in a regular store, but you can find from Burberry to Tory Burch, Gap, Limited, I mean, everything and everything in between. So really, if you think about it, there's no need to pay a premium for clothes and to buy new when you have all of these marketplaces, resale and everything, okay? So this inventory also has, for some brands they already do it, but for some others are offering the option of upcycling. If you have all of these clothes, maybe you can take them apart and do something new, create a new collection with whatever you have already. So this upcycling model is not necessarily the easiest, and if you don't have it as your business model, it can be costly and it can be complex too, but it's another option. So the design, the upcycling, the best option is to have it included into your business model since the very beginning, because then when you want to tear apart a piece of clothing, you did it since the design. You know how to tear it apart, you know how you can use it, you know you're not going to waste fabric and things like that. So if you don't have it since the beginning, well, it's a little bit more complicated, but still you have to get creative, because the other option would be to burn clothes or to resell them, probably at prices that you were not expecting, in terms of profit, etc. So another of the challenges is the sales, of course, that we're not buying as much as we were buying just before the pandemic, and some companies are opting to give to the consumer what they want. What does this mean? We talked a couple of weeks ago about Patagonia. This brand, they sell outdoor clothing at a very, very good quality because they are a sustainable brand, but also they offer the option for us to return what we buy from them, and if we want our clothes, they can repair our clothes, but if we don't want them back, they can recycle them and resell them into new clothes. So it's a way of creating loyalty with consumers, but also not wasting, right? So this model of giving your clothes back, of having the opportunity to fix them with the same brand that made them in the beginning, it's also an opportunity to give the customers what they want. I heard a while ago about a company, I don't remember the name. It's a smaller brand, but they would sell jeans from recycled fabric. You could give back your jeans whenever you needed to give them back. Jeans last for a long, long period of time, but you can give them back. You can not get them back in return fixed, so that this company can recycle what you send them and upcycle into a new piece. So that's a very also it's circular. We talk about the circular economy. This is a way of making it circular, to give clothes a longer life, right? Get away from the waste, get away from having huge inventories, because you're circulating. So another option that larger brands are adopting is to have the same collection for sale for longer periods of time. The fact that there are no sales as usual has lacked everything, of course, to have the inventory, sitting there for I don't know how long a period of time. We're used to this voracious, rhythm in the fashion industry. So this is interesting because instead of designing, as I said, it comes from the design. Instead of designing a collection that is going to last only spring, right? And if you didn't use it in spring, it doesn't, there's people that, they go by this rhythm. If you don't use it in spring, then you cannot use it in the same season and the next season, and this next season is only 2 weeks from now. We're talking about brands like mostly fast fashion. They have 52 seasons a year, right? So to slower down on that pace, this slowers down everything, slowers down the resources used to create these pieces, again, the waste, inventory, every single thing. Another challenge that companies are facing is that they cannot do everything in-house, right? Especially smaller brands. So here the connection and collaboration with other brands is crucial, because let's say you design beautiful, I don't know, dresses, but you don't have the structure online to distribute. Maybe you can get into a marketplace that will give you that structure, or some piece, some garment, some piece in your operation that you're not able to do. You can collaborate with somebody else. For example, sometimes manufacturers, they want your business, right? So they basically say yes to whatever you order from them. But if you communicate with them from a design perspective, from okay, let's do this more productive, more time conscious, or money conscious, or resources conscious, maybe these manufacturers have ideas for you. But since we don't communicate, since we tend to want to do it all on our own, then we lose sometimes these opportunities. So quite often there are innovations just sitting on the shelves, as I said, at manufacturers, because they want their business, they want your business, and they will say yes. But collaboration is key into everything that we're doing in terms of responsible fashion, because there's no way we're gonna shift all of this on our own. I was just talking to Maria Isabel. I'm gonna publish her interview tomorrow. She, among other things, which you will see, she's doing shoes with coffee bags, which otherwise would go to waste. And last week, coincidentally, I spoke with Silvia Cano. She works, her art is also done with coffee bags. So, but they don't do the same at all. They can't do the same. We can't do the same as the next person, because it's creativity, it's art, it's what each of us have to contribute. So they use this material, but since they don't do the same, they can collaborate. They can put together probably their products and create a bigger platform for both of them. Their brands, with her structure and one of each structures, create a bigger one. So I don't know, this is just an example, but all of these collaborations, all of these ways of reusing, okay, there's so much that's done already. We don't need to create more from zero. We don't need to create more fabric. We don't need to buy new, to rush. I strongly encourage you to go to these marketplaces to resell. You will find all the brands that you like at very low cost. Many of these clothes are new, okay? So this is I think one of the opportunities that the crisis has brought, which unfortunately has been very tough on everybody, but there's also opportunities. So here's plenty for that. Thank you so much for being with me today. I will see you next week. Remember to sign up to my webpage, maar.net. You will see all my information next. Because every Tuesday I send resources and information, and the video of this interview, so of this broadcast. So remember that. Thank you so much for being with me. I will see you next week.